Winner, winner chicken dinner in only 5 ingredients. Let's get cooking. Now, with all my 5 ingredient chicken recipes, there is always one key ingredient that brings the flavor. And in this case, it is this beautiful red pesto, which is full of sun-dried tomatoes, loads of garlic, lots of oil. So it's a bit of a cheat ingredient, and especially when you're doing 5 ingredient recipes, things like this are powerhouses of flavor. So it's really important to have them on hand. My other 5 ingredients are some chicken thighs, we've got some spinach, we've got some chickpeas, and a little bit of chicken stock. But this recipe starts off in a nice hot pan. We're going to get in there with our chicken thighs, but before we do, I just want to oil them up ever so slightly and put a little drop of oil in the pan. Season this up with a touch of salt and pepper. And the trick to this recipe is to get these chicken thighs really nice and crispy. So we're going to start off with them skin side down in this pan. And don't worry too much about having it screaming hot at this point, because what you're going to do is render out the fat from that chicken skin. And it does leave quite a lot of fat, but by doing that, you're going to get really crispy chicken skin, and that's the key to this gorgeous little simple recipe. Okay, chicken's in, it's coming up to temperature, hands need a wash. So, little last bit of salt and pepper, and then you're just kind of tending to the pan, just making sure that it gets nice and crispy. It will take a good 10 minutes or so, just until that chicken skin gets really nice and crispy and almost cooks the chicken about half or to 3/4 the way through. So this is the only moment in this recipe where you really want to leave the time for that chicken to get all that colour and crisp up nicely. So it is important that you keep your eye on this as it's happening, because you do want to make sure that it doesn't burn and you get that nice crispy skin, but this is pretty much where we want to be. And as you can see in the pan, there's a lot of fat that's been rendered out, so I'm actually going to drain that off and just make sure that we don't get all of that in amongst the other ingredients we're going to be adding to the pan. So it might seem like an extra step here, but by taking away all that chicken fat, it means that we've a nice fresh pan that we're going to add the other ingredients into. So let's turn these chicken thighs over, nicely coloured on the bottom, just for a minute or so. Look at that crispy chicken skin. That is where all the flavour in this dish is, so really worthwhile taking the time just to render out that fat and get really nice crispy and golden chicken skin. The next thing we need to talk about is how we're going to bring this together as a one-pan dinner. 5 ingredients, we've got our red pesto going in here. I'm going to scoop this in alongside some chicken stock. Again, you've got gorgeous sun-dried tomato paste, you've got beautiful garlic in there, loads of great oils and lots of flavour. So this is really the flavour maker in this recipe. In amongst that, we're going in there with some chicken stock. So just pop that in around the pan. And immediately you can start seeing a sauce. Oh, I'm getting a nice chicken facial here going on here. As soon as you get in there, you're starting to get a sauce going on. So to that red pesto, you just want to shuffle it around the pan. So take your time with that just so that it's nice and evenly incorporated. Once it's in there, give it a little shuffle. We're going to add in some chickpeas. You could add in some white beans, some cannellini beans. I just like an ingredient like that you can pull from the store cupboard. It's in a can and you're going to add it straight to the pan just like this. We're going to give that a little shuffle and just make sure the chickpeas, the pesto, the chicken, it's all nice and evenly incorporated. So once you've shuffled that red pesto in amongst the chicken stock and the chicken, we're actually going to allow this to cook out ever so slightly just until the chicken is cooked all the way through. And right at the last minute, we're going to add in some baby spinach. So give it a minute or two. Right, this is ticking away, it's bubbling away. And as it's reducing down, you're getting a really gorgeous intensification of the chicken stock with the red pesto, and you're getting this really gorgeous, luxurious sauce that is basically 2 ingredients. So this is looking good right now. The chicken is almost cooked through. So right before it finishes cooking, I'm gonna get in there with some baby spinach. You're just gonna lay this in and around the pan, and it's gonna take literally about 2 minutes or so just to wilt down. So give it a moment, the steam will do its work, and you can just use a spoon just to kind of get in and start pushing it down into that sauce just to make sure that it cooks through. And as soon as it has, we are in business and we can serve up. Now, I've just tended to this as it's cooked out, incorporated the spinach, and as soon as it wilts, you don't want to go further than that because you don't want to overcook spinach. You want all that brilliant green in there. But at this point, we are now done. So I'm going to serve this up. You can bring this pan literally straight to the table. There's loads of flavor in there. You don't have to worry too much about anything else. I quite like serving it just as it is because it's a nice hearty meal and you don't have to worry about boiling up anything else. So literally just pile those chickpeas around, and I'm gonna season it up with a tiny bit more salt and pepper, and this is pretty much good to go and ready to be tucked into. Let's taste it. When I was thinking through how this recipe would work, that little bit of pesto, like I mentioned, is that powerhouse of flavor, because as you can see, it's 5 ingredients. There's not too many things going on in here, but the inclusion of that gives you garlic, gives you sun-dried tomatoes, gives you that gorgeous kind of rich oil in there as well. There you go, guys, another 5-ingredient meal that literally takes only minutes to make, and you will have dinner to the table. If you want the full recipe, I will leave it in the box below. It's over on my website. Of course, hit the subscribe button to get more delicious and inspirational little dinner ideas just like this one. Leave a comment in the box below letting me know if you're going to give it a go and how you would adapt it. Until then, my friends, see you soon. But I'll have to feed that to Max when it's cooked. Oh, we're complicating things. Shut up, Donal, shut up. Here we go.